Linda for Moonwise Herbs, and I am enjoying a wonderful, beautiful early spring day. And this time of year, we come out and we harvest watercress. Watercress likes to grow in fresh water, cold springs, and that's exactly where we are, is at these beautiful springs, and they're just full of watercress. A lot of people don't realize watercress is actually, the botanical name is Nasturtium officinale, and we have our garden variety of nasturtium, but this is the true nasturtium. And this plant is super nutritious, really high in minerals. We like to put it in our salads. We like to make pesto with it, and it's just a wonderful green that you can add to many things to give it a little spice and a little kick, because it is a little spicy. Let's see how this is tasting here. Nice. It's perfect this time of year. When it gets bigger and starts to flower, it's actually not as tasty. This is really yummy right now. And we'll take this home, and we'll, like I said, we'll put it in salads and pesto and many other wonderful yummies. And this time of year, there's so much happening. As soon as I walked over here and I started foraging, I also saw some garlic mustard over here. And granted, watercress and garlic mustard are both considered invasive, but they're both spicy and they can be added to all kinds of food to give them a little kick. So this time of year we can come out and we can forage to try to thin this stuff out rather than do pulls and have anger toward the plant. We can actually even pull up the garlic mustard and make vinegar with the root, and also make pestos and salads with the leaves and the root, add it to anything for a spice. These are both wonderful spices to add to your spring greens. So another plant that we can harvest here at the springs is the marsh marigold, and the flowers can be added to salads. Look how beautiful that flower is. And then we also can cook the leaves as a green vegetable. So there's so much food here right now. It's really inspiring, a little overwhelming too, because you just want to keep picking and picking. But this grows along the waterways, and again, you can pick the leaves and the flowers. You do want to wash this stuff off just to make sure there isn't any debris or anything on it. So wash it off really well before you eat it, and then take it home and have your wonderful greens. We are with the multiflora rose, and we are foraging the leaves this time of year. And if you look here, what I like to do is try to avoid the thorns because they can prick you, and so I just take a bunch of the leaves and just pick them off. And then we put them in our harvesting basket and we bring them home and dry them. They make a wonderful astringent tea. I really like drinking this for my morning tea. It's nice warm. And then of course we can utilize this as an astringent medicine if we need to. And also all year long you can harvest roses, of course. We can harvest the flowers in the summer, and then the hips in the fall, and sometimes even into the winter. This plant has actually overwintered with some hips on it. If you take a look over here, you can see some of the hips. And we're not going to forage those today, but they're still there. And if we needed a tea, a vitamin C rich tea in the winter, we could have even come here and foraged then. But again, we're foraging these and we're drying them for tea, so we have them all year long. And this is an invasive plant here in our part of the world in Wisconsin, and so we can forage a lot of this and not worry about hurting the stands of it. And other parts of the country you have wild roses and you can forage whatever's around you. You can find out some of them are a little bit more tender than others. Some of them might even be at risk for being endangered. So make sure you know what you're foraging and how much it's okay to forage where you are. So for this plant, we can harvest it abundantly. So sometimes at this time of the year, you have to get really down on the ground and get close to the ground and start to see these wonderful plants popping up. And here is yarrow, and sometimes at first glance I think it's wild carrot, but then I look closer and it's not. The leaves look really different. They're ferny. And then also the telltale sign is that smell, that pungent smell of yarrow. So here is yarrow coming up, and we can remember this spot for harvesting yarrow flowers later on. Our other tender, wonderful spring green vegetable is nettle. Here it is, and we're still at the springs, and this grows all over the place. And you can see this is a perfect time to harvest this as a spring vegetable. The plant is young and tender. Later on it gets too fibrous, and I usually, right before it flowers, I harvest it for drying. But right now it's as a vegetable. And the way that I harvest this is I pretty much think about pruning. So I go to a leaf juncture and then I break it off and I eat this part of it. So I'll harvest a bunch of this and then cook it up in the pot. It's called a pot herb, which means you can cook it up as a vegetable. And if you look at this plant IDing nettle, of course, you know, when you get the irritation, you know that it's nettle, but it has opposite leaves. You can see them. And it has these little hairs, and these hairs are full of the acids that irritate your skin. So when you forage, if you want to forage and you're not wearing gloves, I actually prefer not to wear gloves, and I don't really get any kind of major irritation. What you want to do, actually, let me just show you, is you want to go up the stalk when you forage, not down, because you will go against the hairs and then you'll cause that acid to break open and it'll cause irritation. So just watch me here as I go down and I forage and I go up when I harvest it. And so that's the perfect way to harvest it. And I don't try not to brush up against the bottoms of the leaves, which if you can see there, the bottom of the leaves have a lot of those little hairs on them. And then when you cook, pulverize, or dry this plant, the acid dissipates and it won't irritate you anymore. So this is just such a wonderful green vegetable, and right now this time of year I like to eat it every single day, and then I like to blanch it and put it up for the winter so that I have it at other times of the year. And again, pesto, all these greens make the greatest pestos, and living here in Wisconsin trying to get these greens all year long, I like to put them up in many different ways: blanching, drying, and also making pesto, and I usually freeze the pesto. So enjoy your spring greens.